I really don't care what happens to her at all. I don't care. Like everybody they tiptoe around with this social media. But what y'all don't get is that it be real consequence for y'all little flexes, y'all quick flexes for $300 that you need. It be consequences.
Tiana's daughter was seen running out of the house, crying uncontrollably. It wasn't just a quiet moment of sadness. It was loud, painful, and public. Neighbors nearby said they saw the child barefoot, shaking, and clearly upset. Witnesses said this all happened right after a tense exchange between her and Aaron. The words he used, described as too cruel, too sharp, too adult for a child to hear. What was supposed to be a peaceful evening turned into emotional chaos. And now, the internet is on fire, demanding answers and justice for a child many believe was verbally hurt by someone she once trusted. It happened just hours ago at Tiana's home. According to those inside, everything was fine until dinner. The atmosphere shifted when a small disagreement started between Aaron and the child. It wasn't a fight. It was a moment where she asked him to help with something as simple as passing her a charger or helping her with homework. And Aaron's response? "You're not my responsibility." Those 5 words changed everything. The room went silent. The child's face dropped. She didn't yell. She didn't argue. She froze. Then, she ran, straight out the front door. Tiana, confused at first, followed the sound of the screen door slamming. She saw her daughter down the street, barefoot, with tears running down her face. And that's when everything inside her broke. Tiana didn't wait to ask questions. She ran to her daughter, scooped her up in her arms, and brought her back inside. The moment she walked back through the door, the screaming started. She looked straight at Aaron and said, "Don't you ever talk to her like that again." Her voice cracked, heavy with pain and fury. Aaron tried to explain himself, raising his hands in defense, but she cut him off. "There's no excuse," she said, tears forming in her eyes. According to someone inside, her hands were shaking as she pointed to the door and told him to leave. "You've done enough," she said again, voice lower now, but with more weight. The entire house felt like it was holding its breath. And Aaron, maybe realizing the gravity of what just happened, walked out without another word. Within minutes, the internet caught wind of the situation. A neighbor had posted a vague tweet. "Just saw Tiana's daughter crying outside. Something bad happened." That one tweet spread like wildfire. Soon, fans were piecing it all together. Someone who claimed to be a friend of a family member posted about the argument, sharing what Aaron had said. And that's when outrage exploded online. "How do you say that to a child?" one user wrote. "She trusted him. She called him her stepdad. And he told her she wasn't his responsibility." Hashtags like #ProtectTeyana's daughter, #Aaron crossed the line, and #StepParentFail went viral within hours. Fans, celebrities, and parenting advocates all weighed in, most of them siding with Tiana and her daughter. The internet wasn't just mad, it was heartbroken. Aaron, on the other hand, has stayed silent. But a source close to him has spoken to a blog, saying he didn't mean it the way it sounded. That he was tired, overwhelmed, and reacted without thinking. But fans aren't accepting that explanation. Not this time. Not when a child was hurt. "This isn't a one-time slip," one tweet said. "This is a pattern. This is who he is." Others pointed to past moments where Aaron had seemed distant or cold in family photos and live streams. People are combing through old content now, trying to see what they missed, what signs they ignored. Because this isn't just about a bad comment. It's about a trust that's been broken. And for many, it's irreparable. Family insiders have shared that since the incident, Tiana's daughter has barely spoken. A child once described as lively, curious, and open has now retreated into silence. She clings to her mother throughout the day, rarely letting go. And in a heartbreaking moment that has shattered fans and observers alike, she quietly asked her mother, "Why does he hate me?" That single question has echoed across social media, through private conversations, and in the hearts of many. It's a question that no child should ever have to ask, especially not about someone they once looked up to, trusted, and perhaps even loved. In response, Tiana has gone into full protective mode. All her public appearances for the week have been cancelled without explanation. Those closest to her say she hasn't left her daughter's side. Family counselors have been brought in immediately to help the child process what happened, not just the words said, but the emotional damage left behind. Because in situations like this, it's never just about the moment. It's about the aftermath. It's about what a child begins to believe about themselves when someone they admire speaks to them in a way that strips them of their worth. Sources close to Teyana have confirmed that she's completely shifted her focus toward protecting her daughter, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. It's not about public image anymore, or salvaging a situation for appearances. It's about her daughter's healing. One insider explained it best. Tiana doesn't want her daughter growing up thinking that kind of treatment is normal. She doesn't want her to internalize that pain and carry it into adulthood. Because what happens in childhood never stays in childhood. It grows, it festers, and it shapes how we love and how we let ourselves be loved. And Tiana is determined not to let her daughter learn that love feels like rejection. The fallout from this has started a much wider conversation online, one that extends beyond the individuals involved. People are now talking about the role of step-parents in children's lives, the importance of emotional boundaries, and the difference between being present and being truly responsible. Some argue that Aaron should never have stepped into a parenting role if he wasn't emotionally ready. Others point out how complex blended families can be, how hard it is to navigate loyalty, discipline, and emotional responsibility when blood isn't shared. But even amid the debate, there is one shared truth among nearly everyone discussing it. Regardless of title, age, or background, no child deserves to be spoken to in a way that makes them question their worth. Basic decency and care are non-negotiable. Therapists, especially those who work with children in high-conflict family situations, have also weighed in. Many warn that emotional wounds caused by adults in a child's inner circle often run deeper than people realize. When a child hears words that suggest they are a burden or an obligation, when they are treated like an afterthought rather than someone to be nurtured, it doesn't just hurt in the moment. It begins to alter the way they see themselves. That kind of damage doesn't always leave visible scars, but it leaves lasting ones. And the longer it's left unaddressed, the harder it becomes to undo. That's the urgency Tiana seems to understand now. This isn't just about whether she can forgive Aaron, or whether the relationship can be repaired. This is about whether her daughter can come out of this without permanently carrying the emotional fallout. The public may never know the full story of what was said, or what led up to it. From the outside, people can only guess. But what everyone does know is this: something happened that made a little girl feel unwanted. And once a child feels that kind of emotional abandonment, it changes them. Fans have responded with strong emotions. Social media has exploded with messages of support for Tiana and her daughter. Hashtags calling for accountability have trended for days. Some people are demanding that Tiana cut off Aaron completely, not out of spite, but out of necessity. It's not about fixing the relationship anymore, one user posted. It's about protecting her daughter's heart. That sentiment has resonated across platforms. Many fans have even started online petitions, asking for brands and media networks to cut ties with Aaron, citing emotional abuse and reckless behavior around a child. Whether those campaigns result in real-world consequences remains to be seen. But the damage to his public image is already done. Unless he chooses to take responsibility, genuinely, publicly, and without excuses, this moment will likely follow him for a long time. And while the world debates and speculates, the little girl at the center of this storm is simply trying to recover. She's trying to make sense of why someone who used to hug her, joke with her, and show up in her life suddenly made her feel like she didn't belong. And Tiana, as a mother, is doing everything she can to shield her daughter from further harm. Whether it means pulling away from social media, distancing herself from Aaron permanently, or even relocating to start fresh, she is now in full protection mode. It's not about public image. It's about survival. Emotional survival. And anyone who has ever been a parent, or has ever been a child who felt unloved or misunderstood, knows that when a child hears the words, "You're not my responsibility," it becomes more than just a cruel comment in a heated moment. It becomes a memory, a belief, a scar. It's the kind of moment that sits in the back of a child's mind for years and resurfaces in ways no one can predict. In relationships, in self-worth, in how they trust others. This isn't a drama. This isn't celebrity gossip. This is real life. It's a child learning what love should and shouldn't feel like. And it's a mother standing between that child and any more emotional harm. It's not about cancel culture. It's about care. It's about empathy. It's about knowing that children absorb more than we realize, and that their hearts are not as resilient as people like to believe. They bruise easily. They don't forget easily. And they deserve to be fiercely protected. Tiana may not have all the answers right now. She may be trying to navigate heartbreak of her own while holding it together for her daughter. But if there's one thing that's become clear in all of this, it's that she is choosing her daughter, completely, unapologetically, and without hesitation. And in a world where too many children are left to figure out pain on their own, that choice matters. It changes everything. Because while a relationship may end, a child's future doesn't have to be damaged beyond repair. Healing is still possible. But only if the adults around her choose peace over pride, growth over denial, and protection over performance. That's the choice Tiana is making. And it's the one her daughter deserves. Do you think Aaron crossed a line that can't be repaired? Or was it a tragic mistake? Should Tiana give him another chance? Or shut the door completely? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments. This one's not just a story. It's a reminder that every child deserves love, protection, and peace. Smash that like if kids should always come first. And subscribe for more raw, real updates on the drama behind the headlines.